Welcome back to the Hub Digital, and today we're going to be going over the 3 seeds in March Madness. We got Kentucky, we got Wisconsin, we got Iowa State, and we got Texas Tech. Which one do you think is going to go the farthest? And let us know in the comments before this video starts. With that being said, let's go ahead and get things started with the biggest brand in college basketball in Kentucky, Wildcats. This is the first year of Mark Pope. The brand didn't fall off with Kentucky at all after Calipari left, but they've been riddled with injuries. Jackson Robinson started the year off hot. He's gotten hurt. Kirk Creasure, he started the year off hot. He's gotten hurt. We don't know how Lamont Butler's shoulder is going to hold up. So Kentucky's health is their biggest question mark right now. They still have Kobe Bure, who is shooting 44% from three, which is outstanding. They have 8 top 15 wins on the season. They have Otega Owe, who's averaging 16.7 on the season. But the biggest question mark besides injuries for this Kentucky Wildcat team is their defense. Their defense has been very lackluster over the course of the conference play, in my opinion, which is why they've lost a lot of the games that you see them lose to Iowa State and Georgia and things of that nature, and teams that they shouldn't be losing to. So Kentucky has a path to win and get to the Final Four. However, they also have a big question mark when it comes to teams that aren't really supposed to beat them. So put them on upset alert and watch for the upset early. Next, we're going to hop into Iowa State, who was actually ranked top 3 at one point in this season, and they also were a national championship contender at the start of the year. They also have health as a question mark right now. However, they started 15-1. They started the year off crazy hot. They have Curtis Jones averaging 17 points per game. He's shooting 37% from three. They have Keyshawn Gilbert, and he's a question mark with his injuries coming up. He's averaging 13.8 points on the season. Their offense has fell off as Tamin Lipsey, who was a star last year in March Madness, has been more of a question mark this year. He's only averaging about 10 points this year. So we're going to see if Iowa State is going to make that bounce back, or are they going to fall off in March. One of my favorite March Madness teams every single season is Texas Tech, and this year they're going to live up to the standards again. This year they have JT Toppin, who's become an absolute star, who's averaging 18.1 points and 9.3 rebounds going into March. They out-toughed Houston. Yep, that's right. You heard me right. They beat Houston in a matchup this year on the road, and they're the only team to beat Houston on the road this year, and they went into Houston's spot and out-toughed them in a game. They were the tougher team, and that says a lot, especially when Houston is the 1 seed that everybody looks at as the toughest team in the field right now. Texas Tech is hot on offense. They average 81 points a game. They finished the season off very hot, so we're going to see what Texas Tech can do with all of their star power. Wisconsin is the most underrated out of all of these 3 seeds that we've talked about yet. They're smart on defense. They're athletic on defense. John Tonji, the transfer, is averaging 18.9 points a game. He's shooting 38% from behind the arc. They protect the ball. They don't turn the ball over that much. And they've lost 3 of their last 5. I mean, it's been a struggle at the end of the season. They've been up and down, but this Wisconsin team is a solid team. They have the leadership, they have the scoring, they have the veterans, they have the experience to make a deep run in March Madness. Let's get into the predictions of where I see Wisconsin, Iowa State, Kentucky, and Texas Tech going. Big Blue Nation, please don't hate me, but this Kentucky team I don't see making it out of the first weekend. They should not have any trouble with Troy. Troy is not one of the stronger 14 seeds, so they got lucky with that matchup. However, they're going to run into a very strong, solid Illinois team that has a lot to prove, and I just don't see a way that Kentucky comes out of that game alive, especially if Lamont Butler isn't back. But if they do get Lamont Butler back, Kentucky is poised to go on a long, deep run into this March Madness year because they really just struggle outside of Otega Owe to find points. And if they can't find points, they're not going to be able to keep up with Illinois' offense. So I see Kentucky losing in the second round, and that's probably the earliest that I see any of these 3 seeds losing. Because don't get discouraged. I have Wisconsin also losing pretty early. they should get out of the first round, but they're going to run into a very solid matchup with BYU and or VCU in that second round. So if they can get through that second round, they're going to go up against a very strong Alabama team. Now, hear me out. Alabama is going to be a hard game to beat. However, Wisconsin can definitely win that game if Grant Nelson doesn't play. Grant Nelson, we still don't know how long he's going to be out. So look for Wisconsin to beat Alabama if they do get past that 6-11 matchup in the second round. Now, Texas Tech does not have an easy route at all, and I am going to take them as a sleeper to make it to the Final Four, but their route is not the easiest thing in the world. They have UNCW, who is not going to be a pushover as a 14 seed. Look into that game to see if there's any way that Texas Tech is going to come out in a slumber, but I don't think they do lose that game. And then they'll have to play against Missouri or Drake, and Missouri is very strong with Mark Mitchell over there, so we're going to see how that matchup turns out, but I do think Texas Tech is going to be able to out-tough both of those teams. I don't think Missouri is that strong outside of Mark Mitchell, to be honest, and Drake can win that game, but I don't think Drake is a good matchup for Texas Tech. And then the Elite Eight matchup that everybody would have their eye on, actually, my apologies, that will be the Sweet 16 matchup that everybody has their eye on, would be Texas Tech versus St. John's. And oh my goodness, would that be a good, tough battle. However, I think Texas Tech just has too much offensive firepower to really keep it a close game with St. John's. St. John's likes to keep it close and then win it in the end, but Texas Tech is just too consistent and too powerful, and they control the pace too much for St. John's. I don't think that's a good matchup for St. John's. I do take Texas Tech to win that matchup. And if Texas Tech wins that matchup, they can definitely win one more to get to the Final Four. You can see Texas Tech has a sleeper Final Four pick in a lot of people's brackets this year, and I'm not mad at that pick at all. Now, I'm not going to say Iowa State is the best 3 seed, because genuinely I do think Texas Tech is the best 3 seed. However, if Iowa State gets healthy, I just think their route is best built for their success out of all the other 3 seeds. For instance, they have Lipscomb. I don't think Lipscomb is going to match up well with them. Lipscomb always gets to March Madness, and they don't really make any noise every single year. After Lipscomb, I see Iowa State getting very lucky with their matchup. Iowa State's going to run into a RJ Davis-led 11-seed UNC team that I don't think is that strong to beat Iowa State. I do think UNC gets past Ole Miss, obviously. And then I think Iowa State runs into a Tom Izzo-led 2-seed Michigan State. And honestly, that Michigan State squad can have the possibility to lose that game. They've lost some games this year that I think they're a lot better than, and I don't think they're that much more talented than that Iowa State team. So it'll be a battle down to the wire, and Tamin Lipsey has the potential to pull that out. And Auburn has finished the year on a shaky conclusion, so we'll see if that Auburn team can beat this Iowa State team as well with the defense that they're going to bring to the table. So I would take Iowa State to be my favorite 3 seed to make it to the Final Four, but I do think Texas Tech is a better team than them all around. I just like their path better. Texas Tech can also make it to the Final Four. You can definitely see 2-3 seeds in the Final Four this season. If you like this video, please leave a like, please subscribe, please come back. There's a lot of March Madness content on the page, so if you would like to, go through there and help your bracket become perfect.